and welcome to episode 26. I can't believe I'm on episode 26 of the Living Well podcast, the podcast that focuses on holistic wellness and the interconnectedness of mind, body, and spirit so that you can live a life that is whole, empowered, and leading with love. The emphasis behind living well is not necessarily to change anyone's perspective, but to add value to their lives. Because you see, we live in a world where we're surrounded by hopelessness, and we are here to give hope and allow others to see that there is a different way to live in life, that we can thrive instead of just merely surviving or existing. I am your host, Yolanda Cooksey. I am a certified mindset and health and nutrition life coach. Just a little bit of housekeeping. If you are watching this live, I want you to go ahead and drop an L in the comments. And if you're watching it on the replay, drop an R. Also, this is a discussion. We are going to have a guest tonight. I'm so excited. It's my last guest of the month of March of highlighting women who have been empowered and are also working well in their lives and empowering others. So if you hear something that brings value to you, I want you to put value in the comment. And then if it's something that you can relate to, because we all can relate. We all have a different story, and my story is different than other people's story. And so we want you to put relate in the comments. We want you to engage in the conversation. I am so excited tonight because I am having a guest. This woman is such an amazing woman. Like I said, for the month of March, I wanted to highlight and spotlight strong women who share about their challenges, how they have overcome them, and then how they are helping others do the same. And my guest tonight is no least. She is a powerhouse, just like the rest of the women that I had. I started the end of February with Tashante, and then we went into Sonia Dungy, her sister Dawn. Last week we had I just had a blank. We had Karen Sammer. Sorry about that, Karen Sammer. And tonight, my guest is Bren Harris. So, Bren, did you make the call?
Yes, I'm so happy to be here and so excited.
I'm excited to have you here. I love having women and encouraging and empowering women. A lot of times we as women don't do that. We don't lift each other up. We don't, uh, say, give us kind words. So we already have somebody watching, Carolyn. She's watching it live. They don't have kind words to say. And so we want to get out of that habit. We want to learn how to lift up our sisters, no matter who they are, and let us know, because all of us, we don't have to compare ourselves. We don't have to compete because all of us bring value and all of us have a story to tell. I'm excited about your story. But before we get into that, I want to share a little bit about tonight's topic. So tonight's topic is empowered motherhood. Now I'm a mother and Bren is a mother. You could be a mother, you could biological mother, you can be an adoptive mother, you can be an aunt mother, or any type of mother. You're still serving in a position where you are providing care to a child. And so motherhood can be challenging, yet it can be rewarding, filled with ups and downs, from sleepless nights. I know we've had many sleepless nights to moments of really pure joy. And with that, mothers face sometimes a myriad of emotions. We, are overwhelmed, we're stressed, we're happy, we're sad, we're joyous, and different things like that. And we also have obstacles that we strive to balance when we're working on our dreams and our goals and trying to be there and handle the demands of raising a family. And so my guest tonight is going to share the joys and challenges of her experience of navigating motherhood while pursuing her dreams and goals, and what has kept her going, and then how she helps other moms to regain their power. A little bit about my guest tonight. She is the CEO and founder of The Warrior Mom, and I'm telling you, she is one bad mama jamma. She holds a master's in business. She's a mom to her teen son who's diagnosed on the autism spectrum. And she also walks out her purpose daily, every minute of every hour of every day. She not only advocates for her son, she also helps entrepreneur moms reclaim their freedom, their clarity, and their power. Bren, hello and welcome to the Living Well podcast.
Thank you, Queen. You are such a powerhouse. Thank you. I'm so honored to be here. And I love what you're doing with the Living Well podcast. It blesses me.
Thank
We
you
are,
so much.
I am so excited to be here. And as Yolanda said, the Warrior Mom. I founded Warrior Moms by Bren when my son was medically injured at 22 months of age. We like to tell people we've walked through hell. Now we walk through it like we own the place, and you can too. And the reason we phrase it that way is because we know that everyone has a story and your story matters. You neither need to feel like a warrior or be a mom to apply these principles to your life and win.
That is so true. So I'm going to start with some questions. I'm so excited about tonight just to even have this conversation. And I usually start with my guests because we have the titles, we have the initials behind our name, we have the college degrees and all of that. But first of all, let me get your permission. Are you agreeable to being open, honest, and vulnerable tonight?
Sure.
Okay, we're gonna get raw, real down dirty.
Okay.
Just keeping it real. So
Bring it.
I'm about keeping it real. So I'm thankful, glad that you are too. But who is Bren Harris?
Wow. First and foremost, a believer in Christ and a servant. I'm a firm believer that without connection and community, we are destined to fail. And I believe that challenges are an opportunity and that we are stronger than we think we are.
I totally agree with that. Like you, my faith has really helped me over a lot of things. And I'm telling you, if it had not been for the faith, then, God knows where we'd be. But I really love how you're a servant, because as a mother, we are serving. We're serving our family. We're serving others. And we're learning how to serve ourselves, because that's one aspect of motherhood that is really important, is we have to learn how to serve ourselves so that we are available to serve others. And I know you shared a little bit about what happened to your son. He was medically injured at 22 months of age. So I know that he was an inspiration, but how did you come up with the name Warrior Mom, and how did that all fit together?
Oh, well, as a mom of a special needs child, I have found myself over the last 15 years fighting both school systems and traditional education and insurance companies to get the services he needs to help him, the therapies and the opportunities and the equipment that he needs to be a successful human. And we're also fighting the medical establishment. We have been blocked from schools because we have chosen, due to a medical issue, to not continue with the vaccine schedule that the CDC. Now, I'm not telling you to not vaccinate. My son was finally, we got the medical answer. He has a genetic mutation, double genetic mutation. It's a really long phrase. I won't even pretend to pronounce it. It's MTHFR. And we just affectionately refer to it as a mother trucker gene. And it means he's incapable of converting folic acid, which everyone tells us to take, but it's man-made, into folate, which is folate is what helps with the brain development and a host of other things. It prevents blood clots. It helps with healthy vital organs. And what we have learned is that this is our journey, and we want to share with people that you can do a simple at-home genetic test to know where you stand, and talk with your medical practitioner and work a program that works for your child. It is not one size fits all.
And I think that's something awesome that you did. And I hope that mothers are listening to this, because sometimes they think that they have to go along with what, is being told to them. However, like you said, everyone is individual. Everyone is specific. And sometimes we don't know what's going to happen when, we have to, unfortunately, with everything that's going on in our society, they want us or the
Mhm.
children, to be vaccinated, but we don't know what's going to happen when they take the vaccination. So, like she
Right.
said, we're not saying don't do that, but just use wisdom. I think that's one thing that I got out of what you were saying is to
Mhm.
really use wisdom
Right.
and then decide for you what is right for your family, what is right for your child. Don't be afraid to step up and to stand out and speak the truth and see what happens or see how far you can get. Because unfortunately, and this is not to put down the healthcare system or anything, there are some challenges with the healthcare system. I mean, and it's not just with autism on the spectrum, but there's a variety of things that I'm even finding now through a season of life that I'm going through with an elderly parent, and different
Yes.
cognitive issues that are going on. And it's like, do you people not know about this, or you're trying to reach for help and you keep running into a brick wall. And as
Right.
a mother, even it's as a daughter though, or or
Right.
even as a mother, if that's my child, and I also have a adult son at home who has seizures, and they're trying to find
Uh,
out where these seizures are coming from. And I'm like, okay, so why are you guys not having the appointment? I mean, it really
Right.
is an issue where we as moms, we as parents, whether it's mother or father, we as parents really have to start advocating for our children and speaking up, because it definitely is something that is needed. And we never know what happened. Like you said, your son was medically injured, so now you're
Mhm.
having to deal with this whole spectrum of his
Mhm.
life that he has to live with. So, as a woman, I want to ask another question, because
Okay.
like I hear the love that you have for your son. I see the pictures too. He is such an amazing young man, because he's a teenager now. Actually, he's taller than you.
He is.
to, to me, he looks like a little man, but he is. He's taller than you. He's a handsome young man. But as a mom and as a woman, how did that impact your life? And
Oh,
what did you do to overcome some of those things?
I lost it. I went off the rails. I felt like I lived my life. I had a career, got married, decided to have a family. I did everything the doctors told me to do. I was very diligent. And to have this happen when you have a healthy baby feels tragic, because as moms we take on more than is our load. I
Mm-hmm.
felt like it was my responsibility, that I did something wrong. And that's where community and connection comes in, and finding that my favorite thing is who says and what's the workaround. We use American Sign Language to help him learn new words. And
Mm-hmm.
just because one doctor says he'll never be a functioning human being doesn't mean that's so. And I do want to let you know, we have found a charter school with an amazing teaching team that welcomes us with open arms, and it is a magic situation. We feel like we've kissed a lot of frogs in the educational system to
Okay.
reach this point. And I am so thankful, because I lost myself. I didn't take care of myself. I know your podcast is called Living Well. I did
Mm-hmm.
not take care of myself. I did everything for everyone else except me. And my health suffered, because as we know, the body keeps score. And
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was doing something wrong. And I finally hit rock bottom, where I was in so much despair that I reached out for help. And as you know, we have a great mentor, and we're turning our problems into projects, and
Yes.
we're taking challenges as opportunities. And we don't have problems, we have projects, because
Mm-hmm.
this became a project. Now, I am a lover, not a fighter by nature. I'm like, let's all sing worship music and lift
Okay.
our hands, until you mess with my child. And that's where I had to get rid of that people pleasing and say, this is what we've chosen for our family, and our state allows exemptions. And I am here to be your biggest champion or your biggest nightmare. And I just had to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And as a woman, I felt
Mm-hmm.
so much responsibility, and a lot of moms do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Statistically, moms are the primary caregiver of special needs children in a relationship. And that's not always true. We've had one man at our meeting in 15 years. And
Okay.
And and we are stepping into this. Hey, we're locking arms. We're having a summit in April. We're saying we are stronger together. And that's the biggest change for me. I stopped worrying about how I felt and started saying, okay, what is God calling me to do? What am I supposed to learn from this? And it took years to get there. I'm not saying it
Mhm.
happened overnight. And that's where faith comes in, because I will not walk away from a mountain when I know that it is appointed and anointed to me.
Amen to that. Look, I'm like, drop the mic. Just, but
Ah,
I want to go back for just a moment because you said one key thing is you said you hit rock bottom. And I know for each individual that can be different. And sometimes it's said that if you can't pour from an empty cup. However, some people believe that yeah, you can pour from an empty cup. However, what's not realized is that if you keep trying to pour from an empty cup, that's where you have the overwhelm, the
mhm.
frustration, the stress, and stress kills. So then it starts not just inward, it starts to come out outwardly with ulcers or headaches or migraines or different things like that. And so it's really important, like you said, when you recognize that rock bottom, what was your first step that you did? Because you realized that, okay, I need to get something, I need some help, I need community. So what was your first step that you did for
I
someone
reached
who's
out.
listening who may not know?
Sure. I reached out to a professional in my area. I reached out to the Foundation for Oklahoma Autism and reached out to professional help for my son. And then I reached out for professional help for me to talk through this, to work through this. I'm all about theory to application.
Mm-hmm.
Let's stop the self destructive guilt or shame and let's move forward. This
Correct.
happened. It wasn't planned, it wasn't intentional. The doctors did the best they could with the data they had at the time. I am
Mm-hmm.
saying, let's spread the word that a simple genetic test can help you avoid such great heartache. And we can say, hey, we can have a real discussion about this without screaming at each other because it's such a hot topic. And
Mm-hmm.
I had to put the oxygen mask on myself first. I
Yes.
really did. And that was probably the first time ever. And it was so important. And I'm not even the same person I was when this happened. And I believe that's the refiner's fire. We can let it make
Mm-hmm.
us be bitter, or we can let it make us live better. And I'm not,
Correct.
that's not a platitude. That if you showed up at my doorstep, this is who I am, on or off
Mm-hmm.
camera. This
Okay.
is because not a lot of things shake us now, because we've had so much turmoil in our home and so
Mm-hmm.
many, battles and winning and losing and turning that failure into progress and learning. And
Mm-hmm.
we are so thankful for where we are now. And now we want to share with other families that you have options. Don't let
Right.
them tell you otherwise.
I love it. I love it. And then, like you said, our mentor says, turn your problems into projects because we never know the impact that we're going to have on someone else's life. And there is someone going through exactly, or maybe even similar things of what you're going through. And so that's why it's important for us to share our stories, to share
Yeah.
our struggles and give our testimonies, because other people need to see, well, hey, wait a minute. If they made it through, I can make it through too, because I've
Hmm.
always mentioned that I am a firm believer that we were created for community. We were not
Yes.
created for isolation. That is one of the biggest tricks of the enemy, to get people alone, because he knows
Okay.
if you're alone and by yourself, that's when he can attack and cause further problems in your life and make you think that you're by yourself. And then there comes the despair and the depression and the anxiety and all of these different things that really God wants us to just lay at his feet and allow him to handle for us. So I
Right.
want to ask, this is kind of going into my last question. We're almost at 20 minutes, but you mentioned, or I mentioned, I'm sorry, that you help entrepreneur moms. So as what are you as an entrepreneur?
I am a
What do
business
you do? I'm
coach.
sorry.
Oh, I am a business coach for entrepreneur moms with special needs children. It's a very unique niche because
Yes.
I learned early on in this motherhood journey that we had so many doctor's appointments, medical appointments, and therapy appointments, and schools over here and over there. I mean, it was different parts of town. There's no way I could do a W-2 and take care of my son.
Mhm.
And a 9 to 5 job was not an option. And I started thinking, wow, maybe I could do something from home. And what
Mhm.
my focus is oftentimes entrepreneur moms feel ignored, burned out, or overwhelmed, or all three. And we're here to
Mhm.
combat that with freedom, clarity, and power. So we walk in purpose, champion our calling, no exceptions, and we lock arms and do it together.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Woohoo!
And
I get
when
all
you say,
excited.
and sometimes people, when they hear the word entrepreneur, they kind of get defensive, or their guard comes. They're kind of like, "What do you mean entrepreneur?" Because they may associate it with something else. So, from your perspective, what is an entrepreneur? What? Why do you use that specific word?
This is Women's History Month. May I borrow a Maya Angelou quote? She, uh, preach it. I mean, success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. An entrepreneur is someone who steps out, decides to be a voice, not an echo of everyone else, and is finding what sets their soul on fire. Because you can be an entrepreneur with anything. Find your passion, your unique self, and let's make a living from it.
Oh my gosh, that was totally amazing. I really got goose pimples when you said that. I was like, that is a perfect explanation, because I mean, I don't know how old you are or anything, but I mean, from like me, I'm 64. I'll be 65. And so we
No
did grow up.
way.
Yes, I'll be
What?
65 this year in August.
Oh, I thought we were
But
the same age.
we grew up with that mindset of, go to school, get an education, to
Mhm.
get a job so you can work 40 years and then retire and live off of 40% of what you couldn't
Right.
live off of in the first place. And I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and even found out that my maternal grandmother was a beautician and she had a cafe. And so I think that perspective of what an entrepreneur
Mhm.
is needs to also change, because we need people's voices. We need
Yes.
people to, understand that it's okay to build something from home. Yes, if you want to get a job, if that's what works for you, then that's fantastic. That's what works for you. But to have something that you can build, and my perspective is that it's not just something for me, it's something that I can leave as an
Mhm.
inheritance to my family.
Mhm.
And whether
Yes.
they decide to continue do what I'm doing, or to take it and make another spin off of it, it's still
Right.
something that can get passed down from, generation to generation. So what you're doing, and can get passed down to generation and to generation. You're helping other women to do the same thing. So I am so excited about where you're going. I'm so excited about what you're doing, and I'm more excited about what God's going to do with it.
Oh, yes.
So
Amen.
my last question is, because I try and keep it to 30 minutes. So my last question is, what advice would you give someone, or one mother, who may be in the same situation, or even through another situation where she's struggling? She doesn't have to necessarily have a special needs child, but just in a family, a woman, entrepreneur, whatever is in her life, and she's struggling. What advice would you give her?
Find your tribe. Find your tribe. We are not meant, as we've both said on this podcast, we are not meant to live in a vacuum. Find what sets your soul on fire and find your people. Find your female tribe, people who are lifting each other up, that are turning problems into project and not using it as a gripe session, especially online. And I want you to know that you can do this. If I can do this, anybody can. And it's important to walk out your purpose and champion your calling.
I totally agree with that, man. This is so powerful, because each of us have been created for a reason and a
Mhm.
purpose. And we all have a calling on our lives, but sometimes we can get so caught up in looking at the physical and getting
Mm,
distracted that we don't
amen.
walk where we need to walk in. And so that was so amazing. Thank you so much, Brent. I'm serious because actually I prayed about who to have on for this month. There were a whole bunch of women, but you were one of the women that came to mind. So I am so glad that I reached out to you, and I'm more glad that you accepted the invitation to be on the podcast. And I'm so thankful that you came and blessed us with your presence and your knowledge, because it is so refreshing, especially to see, moms and women who are stepping up and coming out of those places of silence and, kind of being in the background to really being bold and courageous and, stepping up and walking in their calling. So before we go off, can you do me a favor and share your social media platforms so that people can follow and
Oh,
support
sure.
you?
Sure. Bren Harris on Facebook and at One with Bren on Instagram. And if you want to reach me, please reach out in the DMs and Instagram. I check those every day.
Okay. And then after, I think, well, hopefully live stream was okay, but if you can go back in and put your information in there, that would be fantastic. That way they'd have the information to go
Oh,
and
sure.
and
Sure.
follow you. But again, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. And I just want to say thank you guys for joining me. This was my last Thursday in March. Of having women empowered that have really stepped up and are making differences not only in their lives and the lives of people around them, but their family's life as well. So I just want to say that I have really had a fun time with this. I don't know what I'm going to do for next month, but who knows? But I just know that we will be back next Thursday at 5:30 p.m. So come and join me as we have a discussion on how to live well. You never know what that topic may cover. So until next week, remember that you are valuable, that you are important, and that you are needed. God bless you, and you guys have a great rest of your evening. Bye-bye for now.